You ever notice how some folks are born into palaces, but you never see them smile? I mean, you'd think if you grew up in the biggest mansion in Connecticut, flying private, with a garage that looks like a damn car museum, you'd feel like you own the world, right? But not Caleb Montgomery. That kid had everything except a reason to wake up in the morning. I'll tell you what, he wasn't even drifting with sinking, just real slow under all that gold. Caleb's 17, already heir to a $1 billion fortune, but you couldn't pay him to care about anything. Failing every class at Northwood Prep School where the tuition's so high, they probably charge you to breathe the air. The teachers had given up. His father, Harrison, one of those men who built empires and looked at you like a spreadsheet, stopped yelling a long time ago. All that was left was this heavy, silent disappointment, you know the kind. And Caleb just tuned it all out. What was the point? His life felt like it had been planned by someone else, like he was a supporting character in his own story. But everything turned sideways the day he wandered into the estate library, a kind of place with leather-bound books nobody's opened in a century, and he saw a girl. Clara May, the maid's daughter, 11 years old, maybe blonde ponytail, blue eyes sharp as anything, sitting on the floor, cleaning baseboards while reading Marcus Aurelius. I mean, who does that? Caleb had never made it past page 2 in that book, but here's this kid, totally absorbed, humming to herself. And when he asked her what she was reading, she just looked up and said, "It's about how to be a good person, even when things are hard." Like it was the simplest thing in the world. Now, Caleb tried to play it cool, sarcastic, like always, but something about Clara May knocked him sideways. She talked about her great-grandpa, a war vet who said wisdom's wasted on the old. And suddenly, Caleb felt like the dumbest person in the room, and for the first time, he knew it. He walked out of that library with her words rattling around in his head like loose change. That night, he couldn't shake the feeling he was missing something huge. The next few days, Caleb kept noticing Clara May. Not on purpose, she just started showing up in the cracks of his life. One afternoon, he watched her in the garden talking with old Mr. Henderson, the head gardener, and it was like she saw secrets in the plants nobody else did. Another time, he caught her playing chess, making a move so clever it turned a losing game upside down. The girl just saw things really saw them. But while Caleb's world was shifting, his own life was getting smaller. His dad came home from Tokyo, angry, and stripped him of everything: car, phone, even his credit cards. Said if Caleb wanted to act like he had nothing, he could start by riding the school bus with the rest of the world. Now, for Montgomery, that was about as low as it got. His friends at school tore him up for it, especially Kyle Jennings, whose dad was a rival of Harrison's, and who'd take any chance to kick Caleb when he was down. Suddenly, the nights got long and quiet. No screens, no distractions, just him and the empty house. That's when he started to see Clara May for real. One day, watching her polish silver, she said something about how tarnish builds up in the hidden places. It's like a grudge. If you don't clean it out, that's where the bitterness settles. And Caleb realized he'd never seen anything for what it really was, just the price tag, never the story behind it. He went to her. "Teach me," he said. "How do you see the world like that?" Clara May didn't even blink. She gave him 3 rules. Start from zero. Do exactly what she says no matter how weird it seems. And this was the hardest: throw his pride in the trash. "It's the heaviest thing you carry," she said. "And it's useless." Her lesson started at dawn, out in the garden. She had him stare at the base of an old oak tree, told him not to just look, but see. At first, he saw nothing but dirt and grass, but then he spotted an ant dragging a crumb, a spiderweb glistening with dew, a wildflower forcing its way through a crack. He'd walked past that tree his whole life and never noticed any of it. And as the sun rose, he realized how much he'd been missing. Clara May's lessons were like that. One day, in the kitchen, she told him to close his eyes and listen to the story the room was telling. He heard the chef's knife thumping, the nervous clatter of a new kid, the hiss of a boiling sauce. He heard fear, pride, teamwork, all of it layered in the noise. For the first time, he was inside the world, not just drifting through it. The hardest lesson came in his father's study. Surrounded by trophies and magazine covers, May made him look at old photos of his dad as a young man, hungry and exhausted, building his first business in a garage, and before that, his dad as a boy, desperate for a hard man's approval. Suddenly, Caleb saw not a CEO, but a son, battered by the same expectations. For the first time, he felt something like empathy for Harrison. Their next conversation wasn't a breakthrough. Not really, but it was a start. Caleb told his dad, "It must have been hard, starting with nothing like that." Harrison just nodded, caught off guard, maybe seeing his son for the first time in years. After that, Caleb started seeing everyone differently. The kids on the school bus, the teachers at Northwood, even the janitors scrubbing the halls. He realized nobody's just an extra in a store TV, all got their own movie playing, full of pain and hope. He started working, really working, not for his dad or the family name, but for himself. May showed him how everything's connected: history, science, literature. They built these giant mind maps, drawing lines between railroad construction, steel making, immigrant labor, poetry, the whole messy, beautiful web of things. He stopped memorizing facts and started asking why things happened. For the first time, he started to care. It wasn't magic. His grades crawled from F to D, from D to C, and finally, after weeks of work, fueled by late-night tea and May's quiet encouragement, was actually passing. His dad didn't believe it, accused him of cheating, said nobody could make that kind of jump without a trick. And that's when Caleb finally snapped, but not in the old way. "You're blind, Dad," he said, calm as anything. "You see a bad investment. You forgot how to see a person. I did this for me. And whether you believe it or not, that's your problem, not mine." The real twist? May's family had their own secret. Her uncle, once a top programmer at Harrison's company, was blamed for a major breach and blacklisted for life. Her mother, Susan, worked 2 jobs to keep them afloat. They needed justice, not charity. And May? She hadn't just saved Caleb. She needed him to see the truth, to clear her uncle's name. So Caleb dug in. He used everything May taught him, poring over old logs and financial records. He found the real saboteur, a board member with a grudge, Kyle Jennings Sr., no less. It was all there, hidden in plain sight. He brought the evidence to his dad, who finally, had to face what he'd done: ruined a loyal man's life out of pride and blindness. Harrison apologized, not just with words, but with actions. A job, a settlement, a public clearing of the family name. Caleb never went back to Northwood. He finished out at the local public school, graduated with honors. He and his dad, well, they weren't exactly hugging it out, but they talked now, really talked, building something better out of all those broken pieces. On the last night, before May and her mom moved away, Caleb found her in the garden under the moon. "Why me?" he asked. She looked up, eyes wise beyond her years. "My great-grandpa said, you can't fix a broken world by fighting the people who broke it. You have to teach their children how to see. They're the only ones who can convince the kings their castles are built on sand." So, yeah, the billionaire's son failed every test that ever mattered, right up until the day the maid's daughter showed him the only truth that could save him. Sometimes the richest thing you can own is a new way of seeing. If you stuck with me through all that, I hope it got you thinking, or at least gave you a chance to step outside your own story for a while. Let me know down in the comments where you're listening from what you think about justice and second chances. I really do read what you all write. And hey, if you want to make sure you hear the next story, go ahead and hit like and subscribe. Thanks for sharing this moment.